What up, Wellbeing Nation? It's Sumer Bassine, your host tonight, and it's been a long time, of course, and I feel like I have Wellbeing Podcast withdrawals right now, so it's good to be back. I haven't talked to Scott in a while either, because I know he's a busy dude himself, and I've been working on finishing out Train Life Fit Gym here in Austin, Texas, and we just finished a very successful crowdfunding campaign. We had a target goal of raising $5,500, and we far exceeded that at $6,254. So thank you, every single one of you who have contributed or who have supported me in this vision. I cannot wait to finish out this gym. Scott's been busy with his master's. I know that. He's almost done, thank God. And he's also been working on training athletes out of his garage gym. I hope to get a podcast with him very soon. I know it's been crazy with both of us, but I hope to get together really soon here with him. We should be scheduled to have a guest on our show December 10th. I cannot wait for that. I'll keep you guys informed as that comes about. But in the meantime, I thought I'd share with you some of my thoughts that have been percolating over the past few days. And I was actually just about to cook some dinner, but I just couldn't help but share these ideas and these thoughts with you guys, because if I let it go, then the inspiration may leave me. That's how I feel sometimes. I feel like the muse comes to me, and if I don't listen to the muse, then it's hard to retrieve that again. So here are my thoughts. I was thinking about food and how we oftentimes classify food as something separate or different than a drug. But in essence, it's kind of like a drug. You take in the food, you digest it, you absorb it, you assimilate it, and it has biochemical effects in your body. That sounds just like a drug to me. And you're changing your physiology, you're changing your psychology. A lot of things are changing when you're taking in food. And so I was thinking, man, food is one hell of a drug. And sounds like cocaine, right? But in some ways, it can be like cocaine. On a serious note, when we intake very sugary, fatty, and salty foods, it's like the perfect combination for us. It's something as biological beings we crave. It's a survival mechanism. When we have a certain amount of these kinds of foods, we feel satiated. We feel rewarded. There are actual areas of the brain that light up saying, hey, this is good stuff. Give me more. But now we've synthetically made foods that can get us to that point of reward and satiety so fast, sometimes too fast, that we get consumed with the feeling. And again, what does that sound like? It sounds like drugs, right? And we get consumed with the feeling, so we keep wanting to take more and more of that food in, even though we don't even need it, even though our bodies don't even require that to function optimally. And we keep taking this food in, and eventually what happens is we overconsume. The foods have an inflammatory effect in our gut, and it makes it very, very hard for us to lose fat, to turn on muscles around our core, and to feel well, honestly. And so it got me thinking about how I was about to go into my process of cooking dinner. And since I'm super stressed, of course, I'm craving foods that are sweeter. I'm craving foods that will give me that instant gratification, because I've had the experience of eating cake, the experience of eating pie or ice cream or things of that nature. But I know that if I do take that in, I'm going to feel like crap 30 minutes after, an hour after, whatever that may be, whatever time period it takes to feel what it is I'm going to feel, it's going to be shitty. But of course, while I'm eating it, it's going to be amazing. Of course, right? That transient high, the transient rush of, oh my God, this food is so good. I sound like a freaking drug addict right now. But anyway, I have been thinking about my process of creating meals, and it's interesting. I basically just listen to my body, and whenever I have heavy lifting days like deadlifts or squats or anything of that nature, I tend to crave beef a lot. High quality grass fed beef, a lot of greens. I really crave kale. brown rice, and sweet potatoes. It's kind of an interesting feeling I've been getting lately. And it got me thinking about what's useful to me on an everyday basis, not just the gym, not just the days I work out, but just on an everyday level. And I go about my process like so. And this is just from how I've been experiencing my food lately. I go about what's most important to me. The priority to me is micronutrients. So vitamins, minerals, and enzymes. They're like the little screws and nails. They're like the glue that holds your body together. And then the macronutrients, your proteins, your fats, your carbohydrates are like the lumber, the raw materials, right? That we use to build our structure. So to me, what's important is if I want to actually retrieve energy, retrieve the nutrients, retrieve the value of the food that I'm eating, it's going to make no difference if I just eat crappy macronutrients with no nutrient value. But if I eat good macronutrients and good food and nutritious food that provide me with those micronutrients, then I'm properly able to digest, absorb, and assimilate the nutrients where they need to go. So not only that, I'm able to actually break down the food that I'm intaking. Because if I take in a McDonald's meal or a Wendy's meal that does not have much nutrient value, where am I going to pull from my body to break down that food? Right? I don't have my enzymes to help me break down the food. I don't have my vitamins. I don't have my minerals. So of course I'm going to pull from my own tissue, from my own body. The body takes a toll to break down shitty food. It's simple as that. And that's why you feel like crap 30 minutes after or an hour after. You feel sluggish. You feel mucus in the back of your throat. You feel like you want to pass out, the food-induced coma, right? So it made a lot of sense to me why I choose my micronutrients first. That's number one. That's priority. Then number two, I look at high-quality fats, high-quality carbohydrates, and then high-quality meats, high-quality protein. So high-quality fats to me would be my coconut oil, my grass-fed butter, olive oil, nuts, avocados, things of that nature. My high-quality proteins would be grass-fed beef, chicken, pasture-raised eggs, grass-fed lamb, wild-caught salmon, wild-caught tuna, things of that sort. And then moving down the line, I have my carbohydrates, my sweet potatoes, my brown rice, and a favorite of mine recently is the purple sweet potato. Tastes freaking fantastic. Squash as well, of course. And that's how I order my meals. I go with my micronutrients first, and then I go down to my macros, my proteins, my fats, my carbohydrates. And today I was thinking, okay, I'm craving some kale, some spinach, and then some chicken, and probably some avocado, some brown rice, and a little bit of butter on the side. And that's how I pretty much go about my process. Instead of thinking about the caloric content of my meal, I simply go about it in the fashion of what is quality? What is going to mean the most to my body? What's going to make me feel the best? Given what I've been doing today, given all the work I've been doing today, working at the gym, working out, being active all day, talking to people all day, that all requires a lot of energy. So in order for me to come back the next day and do the same thing, I'm going to need to be refueled, rejuvenated. And I can't be rejuvenated and refueled with crappy food. So with that being said, it got me thinking further into how as a society we become so neurotic about six-pack abs. We become so obsessed with physique and counting calories and it's how much we put in, and it's we have to expend more than we put in, which makes sense, which is totally true. If you want to lose weight, if you want to lose body fat, of course it makes sense. But there's a missing key here, and that's your health, that's your well-being. So you're sacrificing this neurotic idea, right, of how you want to look, and you think it's going to give you the satisfaction. But most often more often than not, people get to that point. They get to a point where they are skinnier, where they are leaner, but they don't feel very good. And I truly believe it's because we're not thinking about how well we can be feeling. We're thinking about how good we could be looking. And you totally can have both. You can have the feeling of wellness and the feeling of looking good and feeling confident in your body, feeling strong, feeling able. And I think that should be valued over any sort of physique or aesthetic goal. The physique, the aesthetics, that will come. That will come as the cherry on top. Trust me. But I think as a society, when we can shift our mentality to quality first, everything else will fall into place. That's something I've experienced in my life and something I have experienced with my clients. It's so true. And I remember when I first started this whole diet game and I was trying like paleo and vegan and all these different things, the common denominator with all these diets was that they picked some sort of high quality vegetable, high quality meat, and then high quality carbohydrates. And they talked about vitamins, enzymes, and minerals. That was a common denominator, right? And of course, some of them got neurotic saying paleo is the best. It's the only way to go. No grains. It's horrible for you. But for some people, grains work just fine. And for others, grains are horrible. So you can't pigeonhole yourself into one diet or one dogma. And that's why I think it's so important to think about the quality of food that you put in first. And then through that experience, you'll find the diet that works best for you. And I think that's key. So as a society, I really think the paradigm shift needs to be from aesthetics to quality. And it's just like fitness. We talk about, form is so important in the gym. Form is so key. Building stability and building mobility is first. And then comes the strength and the power. So why don't we apply the same concept to your food? It's the same exact thing. Same exact thing. Quality first. What are you putting into your body first? Let's build that foundation. Let's build your foundation first with those nuts, those bolts, those screws, the glue that holds your structure together. And then from that space of wellness, from that space of feeling the best that you possibly can feel, then let's talk about how much, how frequent, when, the timing of when you're taking things in. I think that's more important than anything else. And we can go about this whole cycle of saying, but I want to be balanced. I want to live a balanced life. # balance. I see that all the time on Instagram photos and things of that nature. I think of the word balance being used as a crutch a lot of the times, as a crutch to eating not so nutritious foods. Too often. I'm not saying to never eat your pie or never eat your cake or never enjoy yourself when you go out. Please do. There's a rich experience in going out and trying foods that are savory and sweet and have different kinds of effects on your palate and your psyche. It's a very amazing experience. But instead of thinking about your cheat days, I cannot wait till cheat day. Instead of thinking about, instead of training yourself to wait till cheat day to go into carb deluge, I highly recommend thinking about how well you can feel every single day and then working in these foods that you want to experience, whether it be pie, cake, or some savory meal at a restaurant. Working them into your lifestyle intermittently versus just saving up for that cheat day. Because then what do you train yourself to do? You're training yourself to see food as a reward. Food is some sort of reward I get at the end of the day because I did something good. I've met my goal, so I'm gonna reward myself with food. And don't get me wrong, guys. I'm totally guilty of this myself. I see food as a reward a lot of the times. I'm like, I accomplished so much. Let me go out and have a good time and eat some not so healthy food, but in the moment it feels great.